Hi everyone, it's Linnea for LDRS Creative, and I'm going to be making a card using the Pattern Creation Bundle. This bundle is a really unique set of products. There are two 4x6 stamp sets, plus 5 different templates to create patterns, and then there's also an instruction guide. So these patterns that you see on the stamp set may look a little strange. Some of them are individual pieces, and some of them are meant to be repeating patterns so you can create a whole background. And what you do is you take these templates that you see here, and there are 5 different ones, and the various stamp sets line up with different templates, and you use those stamps in the grids, and then you stamp, remove the stamp, line it up with the different grid, and then stamp again. I know that might sound a little confusing. Don't worry, we are going to walk step by step through it in this tutorial. There are 5 different templates, like I said, and there are different sized boxes and grids. Some of them are squares, some of them are diamonds, some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller. And they are created so that you can create a variety of different patterns on your cards. There's a grid to do 4x6 and 5x7 cards. Now, if you take a look at this instruction set, you can see how lining up certain stamps with different pattern templates is going to give you different patterns. So for example, if you take this first template, which has these large squares, and you find the coordinating stamp image, which is this large one that I'm pointing to here that kind of is a big square, that square is going to line up and fit right inside of each of those grid lines. And so you're going to be able to stamp a full pattern by using those grid lines and just repeating the pattern over and over. Same thing with other various patterns. If you just look at the templates and then find the coordinating image, that's how you're going to decide how to build your pattern. So for example, you can see the stamp here with the little square is going to line up, and you're just going to be able to build all kinds of patterns. Some of them are repeating, and they are meant to fill your entire background, and some of them are just kind of flowers so that you can create like a pattern paper with a floral background. So for my card, I'm going to be doing 2 different patterns and mixing them. This first one, I'm starting with pattern template 3. So I have that template number 3, that's that acetate piece, and I've cut a piece of cardstock to 5 by 7 inches. So I'm going to be using the larger outline, the black outline for the 5 by 7 size. I'm lining up that template with my cardstock piece, and I've temporarily added some adhesive to the back, and I'm going to place both of these into my stamping platform. So that tape is adhering my cardstock to my stamping platform. That's not going to move anywhere, but that acetate template I'm going to be able to pick up and remove. I have found the image that I want to stamp, and I use that layering guide to find that coordinating image. I'm going to take that stamp and I'm going to place it over top of that grid image. Now you can start wherever you want. I like to start somewhere near the center. So I just picked a square, lined up my image inside of that square grid, and then I inked up my image, and I'm going to stamp it onto my cardstock panel. Now you can see that it does look kind of strange right now. It's just kind of a mishmash of randomness. But this is where the repeating aspect comes into play. This particular pattern is going to be a full page pattern. So I've cleaned my stamp. It's a key point. You always want to clean your stamp so that you don't transfer ink onto your grid. I've replaced my grid back into my stamping platform, lined up that image with a grid line, one of the squares that's right next to the image that I've already stamped, lined it up, and now I'm going to stamp again, and you can see how that pattern now is beginning to repeat. And it's really easy because that template is clear, so you can look through, make sure you're lining things up correctly, not only with the grid lines, but with the image that you've already stamped. Let's do that again. I've cleaned my image. Excuse my head, you really do want to get right over top of your image here so you can look straight through and make sure things are lined up perfectly. I use those grid lines, and I'm going to stamp again using that same pink ink. Now you can, if you want to, you can switch up your ink colors. With a repeating pattern like this, I like to use the same color, but you can go crazy and do whatever you would like. I'm just going to continue on stamping. I'm going to stamp, clean off my stamp, replace my template, line it up, stamp again, and I'm just going to continue until I have my full page full of the pattern. And you can see here that I started in the center. That's just where I like to start in the center, and then I work out to the left and the right and to the top and the bottom. But since this is a repeating pattern, you can start stamping wherever you want. You can see that pink panel that I stamped there, and then I also repeated that same process using gray ink. So now I have 2 pattern papers, no time at all, and all you needed was some stamps, some ink, and those templates. So you can create whatever pattern you want as many times as you want, and you're never going to run out of it. I'm going to do this again, but with a different type of pattern. This one's not going to be a kind of build up your page repeating pattern. It's just going to be, I'm going to fit my pattern inside of each one of those diamonds, but I don't need to really line it up to match the pattern. This time I'm using an A2 piece of cardstock just because I need a smaller pattern, and I have pattern template number 4. This is one of the larger diamond patterns. I've placed that over top of my cardstock, lined up that black outline for the A2 size panel. I've again attached my panel into my stamping platform so that it doesn't move, and then I just have my acetate template free in there so that I can pull that in and out as I need to. I grabbed the pattern that I want to stamp, and it's this little kind of diamond cross type pattern, and I'm going to stamp this in yellow ink. I'm using those templates, and I'm going to stamp, remove the template, clean my stamp, just like I did my first time, except this one you don't have to worry about matching up the pattern, so this one's going to go much quicker, at least for me. There's no lining up of the pattern and making sure that it's going to be even. All you have to do is just center it inside of this diamond. Again, I did start in the center, and then I worked out left, right, top to bottom. That's just my preferred method, but as you work with these products, you'll find your own method of doing this. So here's my full background panel. I'm going to end up cutting this down, but you can use this as a full background piece and just add a sentiment in the center, and you have a card ready to go. Alright, so let's build the card now that I have my stamped pieces done. I'm creating a Z-fold card today. So I have a 7-inch by 10-inch piece of white cardstock that I scored at 2.5 and 5 inches and folded that. Folded it in the center so it's like a regular card, and then folded that front flap back. I've cut down some panels of cardstock. I have 2 black panels to 2.25 by 6 3/4, and then a larger black one by 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. I have the pink stamped panels that I cut down to 2 inches by 6.5. And that gray pattern, 4.5 by 6.5. And I'm just going to layer those up, and now I have a Z-fold card with lots of pattern, but since it's the same pattern, just different colors, it looks very cohesive. This yellow one, I have the black panel is 3.5 or 3.25 by 5.25, and then the yellow stamp panel is cut down to 3 by 5 inches. And I'm going to add adhesive only on the left side so that it's adhered only to the front flap of that Z-fold card. I'm grabbing some products from my LDRS Creative stash, and this is the Christmas Floral Stamps, Layering Stencils, and Die Set from HSN. So I ink blended some of those little sprigs, and then I cut them out using the coordinating dies, and I also have a sentiment from another LDRS Creative stamp set. I'm going to add those onto that front panel. I really wanted the patterns to be the focal point and to really be what the recipient of this card focuses on. So I kept it simple on the front with just a little bit of an image and a sentiment. This card is finished. I love the way these patterns mix and match and how you can create your own pattern paper, and since you're using stamps and cardstock that you already have, you're never going to run out of pattern paper. I know for me, when I have pattern paper, sometimes I don't like to use it because then it's gone. But with this, you can create whatever pattern you want as many times as you want, and you'll always have an endless supply of pattern. Thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial. I hope you had fun. If you want more inspiration, don't forget to visit the LDRS Creative YouTube channel for even more videos. Thanks again. Bye.